Hey folks, how you guys doing tonight? We got Steve the Canadian, we got Moham in the chat here. Just checking in with you guys, see how everybody's doing. I haven't made a video for a couple of days. And so I kind of want to get a pulse. Not only did I kind of take a break from making videos, but I just kind of put my phone down. And so picking it back up today, there's definitely a little bit of drama that wasn't there a couple days ago. So, Drew, how are you doing? It's good to see you too. So I'm not going to go super long tonight. I just want to get a pulse on where people are at. How are you guys feeling about this whole DeFi scenario? Things kind of got heated up last week in what I thought was kind of a strange way. Lots of kind of communication, I guess you could say, mudslinging between YouTube influencers and communities. So just kind of interested to see what you guys' thoughts are on all that stuff. So while I've got you guys in here, I can see we've got Halal with the Terra to the Moon. So we've got some, Drew Reyes, avoiding Twitter and Reddit. BTFA. I'm not sure exactly which one that is. RJ. Hope you're doing well. All the family out here. It's been the same old thing. 3 monkeys, 1 football. Yeah. Please show Chronos Chain some love. Check out MMF ecosystem, please. So that is something that I am considering doing. 808, how you doing? This, looking at what's going on with some of these larger players, I'm really starting to feel a little disillusioned by the small new DeFi startups. They're just one after the next, multiples per week. A lot of them launching to quite a bit of fanfare, and then we're seeing them, pull back. So, I don't know what to do there. I don't know if I want to, we get quite a few opportunities to talk about people's projects. It's commonly referred to as shilling. Hey, Baffles, how you doing? As shilling a project, and there's quite a bit of that going on out there. People just getting the word out, and I think influencers are kind of in the advertising business, so I can understand it, but it's not really the direction I'm wanting to take this. So let's see here. Yeah, Banana Task Force Ape launched earlier. I don't know how that ended up going. I saw that the pre-sale bought out in like 15 seconds. I can address this one, I guess. Rohit Yadav. To the best of my knowledge, Terrarium is absolutely not a scam. Terrarium is a project that's building a centralized exchange. They're currently listed on 6 exchanges, a 7th one adding soon. So as far as any of the DeFi projects go, it looks to me like they're accomplishing the goals that they're putting out in front of themselves. So at this point, I wouldn't call it a scam. Nope. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Got the Australians in the house. Thanks for checking in, you guys. So, so I'm kind of starting to look, you guys, at maybe covering like the top 20, doing something, share my screen here, with this group right here. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that I feel like this is more where I'm taking my investments. I was really excited, not really about all the DeFi space, but I was very excited about Saitama. I started creating content last year in September, rode that ride to the top and back to the bottom again. Now they've got some things going there. with their Mask is up and running, and Cyta Realty, I've been able to transact on it a little bit, the little bit that I had there. So, um, it's there's some, I guess you could say, some positive things going on there. I still have the spreadsheet. There are still quite a few of you that are interested in the spreadsheet. As a matter of fact, I've got it right here. I don't know if I'm sharing my screen. I don't think I am. Let me make sure that I'm sharing my screen here. Pretty simple thing. There we go. This conversation makes a little more sense if I'm sharing this. So I'm talking about, focusing a little more maybe on these top 20, top 10 coins. Of course, taking out the stable tokens, but just looking at the top squad here where there's less drama, more established projects, and yeah, maybe less of an opportunity for that 100x moment, that 1000x moment, but less of a chance of people just getting wrecked, because we are still seeing quite a few rug pulls in the space. So I'm looking there maybe as a means of finding some content. So let's see here. Lee Hill, hey Dean, hope you're doing well. Still holding my Saitama, but getting a bit over poo coins in general. Miss your content. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying too, Lee. Is there's other stuff out there, and there's so many Me Too tokens, and there is somewhat of opportunity there, from a creative standpoint for people who want to create content around all these new coins that are coming into the market. But I'm starting to feel like, I want to see projects that have real serious staying power. It isn't even so much like, they've got a great roadmap. I want to see, what have you done? What have you been able to accomplish? And what is it that's going to put you to the next level? What's going to carry you out into the long run? So I'm going to pop back in here and look at some of your contents. Yeah, Matt saying just bullish on Crow, crypto.com. Did I make money on Cyta Realty? So here's a fair question. And the answer to that one, I guess you could say, is somewhat. I think I did. It's hard to say in some ways because I haven't been able to get it out, but I could show you. I mean, I'm happy to put this up. This isn't a bunch of information, but I'm sharing my screen. Let me just pull my phone up and I'll kind of show you what that journey looked like for me. Let's see. I've got a little bit of a reconfigured desktop here. So where is my QuickTime? I need to find the QuickTime player. Give me 1 second here. I'll pull my phone up and we'll answer that question. All right. Hopefully this is going to share my phone. It always has in the past. Maybe not. Since I got my new computer, let me pop a feed into my old computer here for you guys. And I'll talk to you candidly about it. Sorry for the boredom here for just a second while I try to get this up for you guys. Okay, once this comes up, nope, not where I want to be recording. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you this. Let's just walk through it. I'll pop back over. Sorry, guys, with the new computer, things aren't working the way that they did previous. So, all right. So it's just me and myself because I've got a second screen going so I can track all of your. Yeah, it never works when I'm live, does it, Lee? Um, so I've got my phone right here. Let's see. And you can see there the balance in my SideMask wallet is about 3,000 and change, 3585. And it shows that I'm down $22,000 USD in the last 24 hours because when they finally got the liquidity in there and normalized all the prices, it had grossly overstated. At one point in time, it showed I had like $60,000. But to answer the question, did I make money on Side of Realty? The bottom line is I ended up putting in about $600 in Saitama. I ended up today with around $4,000 of Side of Realty. And I ended up um, selling about half that position. So now I've got about $2,400 inside of Realty, $2,400 that I pulled back out. And I tried to actually send it out of SideMask to my Coinbase wallet. And it shows that that was successful, but it hasn't populated into my Coinbase wallet yet. And that's, going on a couple hours now since I did that transaction. So, yeah, my wallet is up from where I bought the Side of Realty, but I haven't really been able to get it out of the wallet. So it shows that it's sent, even shows the correct address for my Coinbase wallet, but it's not populating. So I paid the fast gas fee. We'll have to see how that ends up. So here's a question here from McGuire, just a simple one. How am I doing? The truth is, man, it has been a absolutely brutal couple of weeks. Our family's preparing for a wedding this week. My son's getting married. And so we're just keeping our fingers crossed that the weather is good and that everything goes off smooth without a hitch. So it'll be a good week once we're through it, but a little bit of extra stress on everybody, and that's fine. Let's see. Just Utsil saying, nice to see you making videos. We got Big A Armory. Terrarium is a solid, well-capitalized project that managed to trip on its own feet. Time to stand up, dust off, get back on the playing field. The silence is deafening, and that concerns investors. Yeah. And I did see in this Big A where Milton did put out today that he was planning on doing another AMA soon. So, yeah, it would be good to get an update there. With these new projects, it does seem like if we don't have a check-in every couple of weeks, that people start getting worried, that maybe the silence is, that there's something missing there in the translation. So thank you. My son, he's marrying a really beautiful girl, and they're really smitten with each other. So that's a good way to start. I think if you don't really find that, it's it's hard to find that later. So they definitely seem to have a high level of admiration. So yeah, crypto vault. So there are some projects out there that I'm interested about. I saw this one playing out a little bit. I don't know what to think of all of this. I did see in the Twitter space, a couple of the different influencers tweeting out that they're buying more. I know that those influencers work together, Austin Hilton and Zach Humphreys, that they work together all the time, and they have for a long, long time. So it doesn't seem to me to be horribly uncharacteristic that they're creating content on the same thing. But I don't know. which influencers, are dumping or taking advantage of the viewers. I don't have an opinion on that on one side or the other. The truth is, up until about 8 weeks ago, I didn't even know anybody was really getting compensated for doing content. So, because I only worked on one project, and that one project never really talked to me about paying for time, because I guess I was doing it for free anyway. So, I don't know. I mean, certainly it's hard to say which one came first, if it's the chicken or the egg, right? Because now what I am seeing is when a project comes up on people's radar, that project is out shopping. They're out looking for people to talk about their projects. And so if multiple influencers pick up the project at the same time, you would hope that the goal wouldn't be pump something, sell it, and not say anything. I've tried to be transparent about that, but you also saw where somebody like Ryan Patrick talked about selling his position, and he got a bunch of blowback for that. They basically belittled him, saying it was like such a small position. They clown emojied him. But I do think as influencers, we probably should be pretty transparent. I mean, I'm usually the guy that's doing this. I'm willing to show you the wallets, where things are going. I don't have a ton of money in any of these projects, but some of them I've done well on. Some of them I could have done extremely well on, but I hodled indefinitely. So, projects like Terrarium, where I am an owner, I actually added to my position on that one. But I also transparently talked about selling some on my wife's birthday, which was March 8th, and paying off a credit card. So, but, when I'm doing most of my videos, I'm showing a position, like this is my Terrarium holding, and it's 3.475 trillion. It's just hard to catch in the light. But, I'm willing to talk about them. If I'm going to sell a project, then I'll talk about it before I sell it. Try to. Things move really, really fast. So there are some projects out there that I would like to get more information about. Somebody mentioned one of them up here earlier, and it was the Coin Vault. Coin Vault to me really does have a really interesting use case where you're able to send cryptocurrencies to people who know nothing about crypto, and you can put a time lock on it so that they don't, to help them hodl, if you will. But if those are really strong projects, even like Ethereum, that one seems like one that should be doing a lot better, but it's one where they have a great program. Their use case was built before they ever launched the token, but they didn't do any marketing, right? They didn't really do a lot of reaching out to the same influencers that you guys are talking about here. And what I've found in that influencer space, at least it's been my own personal experience, is that as long as I'm talking about the projects that you like, then it's totally cool. Pump it to the sky. But if I talk about anything else, then I'm turning against the project, And so I think for those, I think for the influencers that you're referring to, they might very well believe in the projects that they're touting and think that they have great potential for the future. Whether or not they're transparently, selling or buying the tokens, seems like they're transparently buying in that case. But if they're giving reasons for why they sell or when they sell, that's different. And I do think that influencers need to do a better job of just talking about when you're being compensated, so people know, okay, well, maybe there's a line there that you want to be aware of. I'm like tremendously bullish on something, but only for one video. That doesn't stack up. So I honestly, I had a hard time just, looking at all the different opportunities and just deciding, it's not really the path I want to go down. I even thought about doing like a once a month shill, like a super Saturday shill, where it's called a shill and it's just people coming on and using the platform to talk about their projects. But for me, it's, I want to talk about good projects that have long-term use case. It's somewhat the reason why I gravitated towards the ones that I did. Saitama had the roadmap, they had the team, they were very, very proactive about selling themselves early on. And the further it's gotten down that road, the more skeptical I've become. So it's I'm not saying it is for better or for worse. The use case is out there now and it's way more functional than it has been, but it's not quite there still 100%. So here's somebody talking about, yeah, I don't know how much drama you guys. I was off almost completely and I really wasn't well the last couple of days. I spent a lot of time just sleeping, trying to catch up and trying to let go of a lot of this stuff. So, um, yeah, yeah, I'm seeing some of this get slung back and forth too. There are people who are outing the wallets of the development team. I don't know how to confirm whether or not those are actually the right wallets, but I've been somewhat suspicious all along. I mean, you've got several people in there that have completely retired from their day job to support the project. And to be able to do that, you have to have some capital. So whether or not they sold enough Saitama to have a nest egg that was big enough, I don't know. And I'll let it'll all play itself out, whether or not I'm focused on every single aspect of it. So, and I saw Faltron was supposed to start a YouTube channel, but I mean, there may be some truth. The influencers, selling certain coins, but I think that's a two-way street. If the coins want to get recognized, they have to find a place to advertise them. And so why not go to influencers that have a crypto audience? Now, whether or not the influencers are being transparent, that's a different issue. From what I'm seeing a lot more people say that their content is sponsored, or they're just flat out saying, I'm getting paid this much to do this AMA, to do this coin review. And at least there's some transparency there. So, all right. How am I feeling about this? So, this is a really good question. I'm still not 100% sure what happened with the Binance situation. When I saw it initially, in my honest opinion, I thought this doesn't look right. It's not really passing the sniff test. In the AMA that I did with the team, I felt like it was my job to ask them the questions, but not to give them the answers and let them answer for themselves. And so, and if you go back and review that, you'll see me asking them, when you have more information, when you find out exactly what went down here, can you follow up with us as investors and give us the answers? So I'm still counting on them to bring all of the information and let us know what went down there. I don't know, to be honest. I still think Terrarium is a great project. To me, that I would say was a pretty strong misstep. But I don't know 100% still what the story is. But I don't know if the communication was handled well. Definitely the Twitter side of it and getting the message out there before it was confirmed by the exchange. I think that was, poorly communicated. And so after my experience with Saitama and feeling like the story wasn't quite straight time after time after time after time, and we keep getting extended deadlines and changing things, my BS meter, now has a much lower threshold of what I'm willing to tolerate. So, you know, if you have a major misstep, I think that's highly unfortunate. And if they uh, if they can continue to deliver on these other things, I'm still giving it a shot. I want to see how this one plays out, because if they truly can deliver a centralized exchange, then I think they'll have staying power. And that's what I'm looking for. Is I'm looking for crypto projects that have the ability to stay the course. I think in the short term, any of these projects that you're talking about trading, this Hospo one, I saw a tiny bit on that one. It did look to me like it was pretty much rugged. But I don't know. Like I say, I haven't been following it all that tight. But yeah, I mean, if they can deliver their CEX, keep delivering on some new exchanges, they've got their pool to launch new tokens coming. So I'm watching all of these things and just trying to make sure. I'm just trying to make sure that they're going to keep delivering. This question right here, Motiva. So, first of all, it is very important to point out that I'm not a member of the development team. But if it were me personally, I think as soon as I had concrete information about what went down there, I would put it out there and I would just say what it is, because, there's no harm in the truth is the truth is the truth. It doesn't change over time. It's always the truth. So I would put it out there and let people know what happened, and then talk about how you're going to mitigate the probability of something happening like that again. Even if it was 100% on the level and all it was poor communication on the Twitter handling side of it, I would put that out there. As a matter of fact, I do think they've done some of that. Dr. Praveen in his Twitter feed had a list of apologies, and one of them definitely involved him talking about letting the exchanges deliver on the exchange news. And that's kind of where I got the feeling like, okay, somebody got excited. It's a new project. It's a new development team. The communication got out in front of somebody, and there you go, But yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with this. Please tell the team. I actually saw this today, Aviator. They are talking about doing an AMA. As a matter of fact, let me just share my screen and we'll just pull both of those things that I was just talking about. So here is Milton, and he's saying April is going to be exciting for more exchanges, TerraPool, crypto affiliations, and their completion of the office space. Lots of work happening. We will conduct an AMA shortly. So I'm not sure if I'll be involved in that AMA. I don't know how happy they were with me last time. And, there's other people out there that can certainly do the AMAs, but I just want to ask the questions, that you guys want to hear. I want to ask the questions that I want answers to. And then we have to just give it to them to be able to answer them. They are running a business. The AMA came within 24 hours of the Binance tweet. And I don't know if they even had all of the information at that point that they felt like they needed to be able to give a full answer on what was going on. So we'll see what the next one brings. So let's see. Yeah. There's always going to be some people out there that are, they're going to just disagree with you. And I had to learn that lesson the hard way, because quite frankly, I always felt like I was a real strong team player and that I was helping the community. But the minute that I saw something or said something about anything that gave me pause, a lot of people instantly turned on me. And then I just blanketly assigned that to everybody in the wolf pack, which also wasn't fair because there's a lot of people out there who I think are feeling the same way that I'm feeling and just, you know, not, they're just not saying it out loud because they know that you're going to get smashed up for it. So, or you don't want to say something because you don't want it to be true, but again, the truth kind of is the truth, whether we like it or not. And people right now that have been fans of saying the blockchain never lies, this is very true. The blockchain doesn't lie. It keeps a record of everything that people have done with their wallets. And as we start uncovering people's wallets, and I actually think that eventually it's going to be mandatory in the space. I worked for 5 years with national brokerage firms and, doing work in that space as a financial advisor and watching how publicly traded companies have to behave and what kind of regulatory compliance they have to maintain. We could use some of that in the crypto space, right? We could use an opportunity where somebody says, you've got to disclose, if you are an owner of a project or if you have the ability to influence a project in, any meaningful way, then you should have to be, doxed. Your wallet should be doxed so people can see what moves you're making, and then that would cause people to be a lot more transparent. So Neville Thomas, I don't know when the next AMA will be. I'll definitely reach out on that. Here's somebody who says they're from India and that they're holding terrarium and will for 5 years. And see, that's how I would like to play the game. That's why I'm starting to gravitate more towards thinking about Ethereum and, Bitcoin and Crow, Polkadot, these top 20 investments, because there's just less stuff going on there. So Baffles, let's see what you're saying here. Almost 100 people. We know where your head and heart are. Keep doing what you think is right. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. It's always difficult when you're dealing with money and you're dealing with emotion and you're dealing with your job in some ways. Like, you want to get compensated for doing your job or for doing good work, but it's hard to vet out all of these projects that want people to focus on them and give them attention. So, yeah, when you see one that actually rugs on launch, like happened today, people are calling it out here earlier for the Hospo one or whatever it was. They're saying didn't rug in this one. Okay. It's good. I am kind of out of the loop for the last 3 days. It's amazing how quick you can be out of it too. It's how dynamic the space is for these altcoins, for this DeFi space, these small coins. There's so much of it coming in, and one little event can turn everything on its head so fast that it's one of the reasons why I'm glad. For the longest time, I was only focused on a single project. I don't know how I would have tried to keep up. Oh, somebody's saying they didn't rug. They're doing a V2 launch. So, okay. How do the new taxes in India, how will that affect terrarium? So this one goes back a little ways, but I think India passed a law, it could have been in December, where they basically said, go nuts with cryptocurrency, but there was a KYC element. They want, people to be disclosing that they're investing, and then there was like a 30% tax on your gains. And I think you'll see this in other places as well. But it's, I think as long as the governments can get their tax money, they're not going to step in the way of people wanting to invest. Aviator, this thing is incredible, actually. It's changed my life in some ways. And it's unfortunate that I've lost a little bit of my motivation and I haven't been feeling well. And I've got a lot of other life stuff going on. But what used to take me, so if I were just to pan, okay, there's my old workstation. It's now my secondary screen. And then here's the new computer that you guys all helped fund. Crowdfunding at its finest. I appreciate it. When I would do a 10-minute video on my old computer, it would then take me 20 to 30 minutes for it to render the video down into a file that I could post. And the new computer is doing the same work in like 6 minutes. So it's saving me like 75% the amount of time that it used to take. So, all right. So here's just somebody talking about that India tax piece. That's true. Terra is registered in India. Yeah, they're a brand new company there. Normally it takes months to get licensed. Terra got it in weeks. Yeah, I don't know what's causing that, how they seem to be being a little more efficient. Why did I go dark so suddenly here? I don't know. Just when I reset my camera there, I got a little dark. So yeah, the new computer is working so smooth, you guys. I had no idea how frustrated I was on the old one, just waiting for things to load up and waiting for things to go better. So thank you for this kind of stuff. One of the most honest people I've seen. Keep doing what you're doing. I try to be honest, you guys. It's really an interesting space where you want to be honest. There are some people who don't want you to be honest. There are some people who want you to sugarcoat everything and try to, just try to keep everything as positive as possible. And it's true. I like to be positive. As a matter of fact, I really hate being a glass half empty kind of person. I've always been more on the positive side. But, in the crypto space, sometimes too, we need to be realistic. Is that all the difference is? Yeah. Okay. When I put my camera back up, I covered the sensor on the computer screen that darkens everything down. So it perceived the room was dark, so it darkened my screen, which is making it harder for me to read. Xavier Tan, hello from Singapore. You guys are going to be hosting this crypto expo in June that Terrarium is one of the big sponsors for. So hopefully you can get out there, Xavier, and show us what's good. I am still working on a passport to see if I can maybe get out to one of these crypto expos myself and just get a real look at what's going on. So yeah, I just need to get outside more. This is kind of true. And I actually live in one of the zones where people will talk about seasonal affective disorder because our days changed so dramatically from in the summertime having, like 15, 16 hours of daylight down to like 6 to 7 hours of daylight during the winter time. So people get kind of rough. King's Broadcast, how are you doing, man? Thanks for jumping in. So should bring the family and kids out to Singapore. That would be fun, actually. I would love that. So what are you guys, how are you guys feeling, just generally speaking? I don't even know which crowds most of you are out of. If you were to give me your overall feel on Saitama and you were talking like bullish or bearish. How are you feeling about Saitama project? Just as like a general pulse. Year-round summer in Singapore. Yeah, it's not the case here. So got some people bearish. And I don't know how many of you are terrarium followers, how you're feeling on that. But I've got a pretty good sense. Some of you still wanting some transparency there. The deadline for the liquidity lock scaring some people. Yeah, there's an opportunity there, but to me still, I can see what's going on with some of these wallets that are getting exposed, and maybe there wasn't as much transparency in people holding as much as they were doing. Maybe they were selling some, whether it was to move the project along or not. So it's going to be interesting for these tokens to see how they can do. Saitama is right on the doorstep. It would seem to me, which way I need to move, be in the center of the camera. It would seem to me that all of their parts are now in place for them to try to generate some success. And I should show you guys the spreadsheet, but the volume is pumping when the coin is pumping, and then it's pulling back kind of to comparable levels where it was. And we wanted to see with SideMask an increase in volume, and I still want to see that from them, but we'll have to see how it plays out. Yeah. So this is what I was saying too. It just seems like the DeFi space is for quick hits, people shifting back and forth, jealousy, FUD. Yeah, to allow for HODL. And the HODL will only work out if the projects last for years, right? You'll HODL yourself into oblivion if the project only lasts 6 months or 8 months, which is why, I'm looking at some of these projects and I'm saying, okay, well, what is your use case? Is the use case something that projects to last longer than a couple of 3 or 4 years, 2 years, 3 years? If it doesn't, this is a short-term play. So it's just something that we need to be vigilant about. But again, that's kind of why I'm starting to look to this top 20. I'm trying to come up with an idea of how I can make a concise video that shows how those top 20 are interacting with each other. And so, yeah, so people are seeing these top wallet sells, that's this one here. And I haven't read into it all the way yet. I need to try to get a little more well-versed. I haven't been commuting. When I commute back and forth to work, it's about 45 minutes each direction, and I try to consume as much content as I can. So Red Smith, this is something I could probably do a little better at too. Since doing some Twitter blocking and seeing how many new people are in my Twitter feed, I've noticed the community for Saitama and its positivity is stronger than it has been for a long time. So this is exactly what I was talking about when I was saying I had a couple of people that were absolutely just busting my balls hardcore. And it seemed like that's all there was. Like, that's where all of this negative energy, I just felt like it was really the whole project. And then as I was able to step back from it, I could see that, there's a lot of good people there, but I don't know. They really have to turn it around. Do you do projects you believe Yeah. So this question from Xavier, I've only ever been compensated by one project ever, and that project is Terrarium. The other sponsor that I have for my channel is I Trust Capital. They're not a token, it's not a project. I actually like the idea of using that one because I don't have to shill for it. If people want to invest in cryptocurrencies inside of an IRA, it's a platform you can do that in. The top 20 or 30 coins are in there. So, that's one that I've done commercials for. The only other one is Terrarium. I consider looking into a lot of things, and so far I've avoided the shill. You know, that's pretty good money that a person could make there talking about tokens, but I don't really want to talk about anything that isn't vetted or that I don't really know if it has a long term use case, you know? Yeah, if you were there this far back. So my first videos, I didn't show my face because I didn't have a camera and I didn't have a screen capture software. I was just using the free software off the MacBook and trying to, you know, capture my thoughts. I could actually do screen capture with that one and voice, but I couldn't do camera. And then when I hit 1,000 subscribers, then I doxed. So yeah, those first videos are actually pretty interesting. there there's a lot of like there were like 40 days in a row of me making Saitama content that it never had a down day. It was like the golden age of crypto. And unfortunately, I kind of bought in to the idea that it was just going to rocket all the way to the top 10 and, and that I wasn't going to see any major corrections. But as of December, that kind of slowed down. So, yeah. So I talked about them because I trusted them early on. And at the time, if you go back and look at those videos, I had no intention whatsoever of doing YouTube content. My whole goal was to see the Saitama project get to 1 million holders. And so I wanted to be a top 100 and 1 million holders. It got into the top 100 quite early on, but it's pulled back quite a bit since then. So let's see. Yeah. Shibnobi has their hands full without the wolf pack. I don't know too much about Shibnobi. I know that's one of the ones that, is out there trying to make a name for themselves and has done some advertising. Yeah. So don't yeah, I don't know if anybody's harping on Shib. So here's one, just a quick question on TARP. So I still hold the TARP. I actually doubled my position in TARP and then sold half of it again, but I still have 50 million in TARP, which is about 560 bucks. The thing I'll say about TARP is I like the use case of TARP in that they are trying to make the crypto space safer for investors. And, I actually had a video where I went after Moonshot directly because he was going after, the people in the terrarium space for something that I kind of perceived they had done something very similar, which is all of these new tokens, right? Until they have a strong use case, a lot of their momentum is built on hype. And so early in those projects, as they're trying to get a foothold and they're trying to create a community, they want to talk about positive news. And so I think that's where those guys got out in front of themselves and shared some good news before they had vetted out the whole situation or before they had permission to do it or whatever the case was. The way that they told the story, I'm still not 100% sure on. So I'd like to hear it from them. But TARP did the same thing early on. They talked about their own NFT platform and that it would be out within 20 to 30 days. And they showed a contract, where they were applying to be on SideMask. But the truth is, if you really look past that stuff and look at those developers, I think Justin, Just Moonshot, is one of the smartest guys in the space. And he is really, truly good at reading a contract, getting inside the blockchain and doing some forensic analysis to be able to tell you what went down. And so whether their new contract reader is going to be like the best thing that ever hit the crypto space or not, I'm not 100% sure, but it's a project that I'd like to see continue to win, because if you give smart people like that enough time to keep observing what's going to be their next project, what more can they bring to the space that can improve it for the investors? And that's what I'd like to see happen. I actually, there's a YouTuber that I really like. He's a music guy. His name is Rick Beato. And Rick Beato was a college music teacher. He's also in a band back in his day. He does some publishing, he's got a recording studio, and he's actually produced some people. And he talks about how bands in the 70s and 80s, when they became mega bands, they usually had a couple failed albums first, where it just didn't sit right, or they didn't really find their sound. They hadn't found their groove. They hadn't figured out what their audience was looking for and been able to deliver it. But that the radio label companies, they would give them the time that it took to develop that. They would hire promising acts for their labels, and then they would give them the time for those projects to develop into big money makers. And nowadays, you don't see it like that at all. These people that are coming out, there's like 10 writers on the songs, and they're just really trying to give you something for right now, So that's what I think is happening here too in some of these projects. Like, we're expecting things to turn around so fast. TARP is a project that's only 3 months old, and people are talking about it like, well, that's already dead and gone, Or realistically, Saitama, it's not even quite a year old, but since the current team took it and started running with it, you're talking July, maybe they're 9 months old. So we need to give these projects time to develop, but only if the teams are going to be honest, only if the teams are going to put in the work. So, yeah, Aviator says Moonshot's smart, but he is biased towards Saitama. I think they have some deep relationships there. He's definitely talked about Max being the one who's helping him develop his AI project and doing some coding. Yeah, CVC got COVID. This is a true statement. So my wife and I were actually at a play, Oliver Twist, the night that Saitama hit its all-time high. And I screenshot it on my phone and showed her. And then the next day, it was down to a fraction of that. Like, it was down from 200 and something thousand down to like 120,000, which still would have been a massive return. And I'm just telling her, no, it's going to recover. These guys have got it. They've got a plan. It's all coming together. And then it just kind of kept not coming together until this spring. And so here we see it. So yeah, Mononoke. Is Mononoke making a comeback, or did you just see it on my phone? I did have some Mononoke at one point in time. I don't know where the project's at. I know I heard them talking about their game, but they were talking about their play to earn game back in December. So yeah. So this I definitely believe in. We do need new people to come into the DeFi market space. And we have to not only deliver and build, But I also think we need to create some kind of a space that's welcoming for people, because what's been on display for the last 3 weeks is not very welcoming to people. I mean, it's kind of the opposite of that. It's just seemed extremely toxic to me. So, yeah, I think I sold out of my Mononoke. I still have 277,000 coins, but that doesn't register on the price. I think I sold a whopping $55 worth. Yeah, there's a couple things going on with these guys lately. I need to catch up with them and find out what they're doing. But I know early on they were kind of resistant to dropping on some exchanges. They didn't want to just get on any exchange. They were going to be very um, calculated as to which ones they tried to get listed on. And then that didn't really materialize. I know they were listed on Bitmart here last week, and um, you know, that they've got some things going with their NFTs, but I see they're still selling their NFTs on OpenSea, and they're working on an NFT platform. So updates on Terrarium. I don't know if this was a intentional misspell, but Terrarium, he corrects it immediately to Terrarium. So the only thing that I'm seeing out there are them discussing, and tomorrow I'll be making a terrarium video, but they're discussing their pool. They call it Terra Pool. And so see if I can spot it. It was definitely in Dr. Family Allergy, in Dr. Bodiga's feed. He just says one native token, which is Terrarium, one centralized exchange, which will also be called Terrarium, one crypto launch pad. That launch pad is the pool, TerraPool.io. So if any of you have ever been involved in a pre-sell, there are these pooling apps that allow them to basically pre-sell and to capture all of the wallets and the information and the data, and then ship it out. I think I switched over without bringing you guys along with me again. Dang it. But yeah, this is the latest I've really seen from them. Is they're just talking about that Terra Pool, and there's still quite a bit of interest out there. I am watching though in their in the data. So if I were to pop that up, this is something I'll be looking at tomorrow, but you can see here, I switched over from the DEX tools data to the Etherscan data for Terrarium. So if I were to pop that up here, you can see 9177, 9176. That's actually one in the wrong direction. But the number of holders, it's been shrinking just a tiny bit, which is not what you want to see. I mean, we want to see an expanding holdership, especially for this project. When this number hits 10,000, they're doing a one quad burn. So that would be a good thing to see. I'd like to see it hit the 10K and get the one quad burn. But yeah, as far as other new things go, and they're talking about their physical space and their office that they're putting together. So, I mean, one of those tweets kind of leads you to believe that they're pretty darn close to having that done, which would seem miraculous. But I guess if they found the right space and it was pretty close to where they needed it, maybe there wouldn't be that big of an update required. See if I can find it in Milton's, where they talked about, yeah, right here. So April is going to be exciting with more exchanges, TerraPool, crypto affiliations, and completion of our office space. Lots of work happening. So to me, that's pretty interesting too. If they've got that office space done and they're going to start holding, um, if they're actually going to start employing people, and they talked about employing 300 people, then um, they better have their exchange coming pretty close behind that, right? Because the fees that they're using to fund that project are going to be coming from the uh, project itself, right? From the CEX. So just people asking questions here about, Saitama. Is Saitama dead? I've got my Saitama spreadsheet up here too. And I can tell you, if nothing else, I mean, there's 2-day gaps in here because I just haven't been as mindful and as on top of it. But they have added 447 new wallets in the last 2 days. Price wise, it seems to be hovering down kind of in a comparable range to where it's been running since, maybe towards the first of the month. Down some, maybe down quite a bit, actually, from the beginning of the month. Let's just pop in really quick. Look at the chart. But I don't know. It looks like it's actually going down to test that 0 digit again. Adding a 0, not real favorable right now. But yeah, on the 7-day, down about 29%. On the 14-day, it's actually up a little and down 21% in the 30-day. So yeah, I don't know. I would sure like to see them be able to recover this and bring it back to its former glory. This is the number that I've been watching the most. The volume to me is super, super important. And you can see here when you get around the launch of SITA Realty, big upticks in their volume. And the volume, some of those were several days worth of volume, but these are big volume days here. 26 million, 29 million, 40 million. That 40 million is a couple of days worth, so that's a couple of days of 20 million. But what we want to see with this project is for them to be into some of these higher, 10 plus million in volume, because the volume is going to drive the burn. And you can see here, it has definitely burned. There's, 56.54 to 56.65. And that's 11 tenths in a week. It's a faster rate than it has been going, but we are seeing the volume kind of come back down again. So yeah, I'd like to see that tick back up. I don't know if I would say it's dead. I mean, they've got a couple new token launches coming. If they can get it right, if they'll get that lucky rue and launch it and it goes smooth, I think it could go good. Did I invest in WAGME? I invested in WAGME about like $2,000 about 4 days ago. And it's up, their play to earn is supposed to be pretty amazing, but I'm getting the same information you guys are getting just watching the AMAs with the different YouTube channels. So no more emails, please. Yeah, you're talking about, Terrarium. I think Terrarium should come on your channel, do an AMA at least once a week. I'll be talking to him about that. And yeah, this is where I'm at too. Young project. I think they got ahead of themselves. But I'm also in this camp right here too, right? Like I'm not going to be the guy of 1,000 chances like I was with Saitama. Every time they gave any rationale, I just gave them 100% of my trust on that. And, there's still an opportunity there. Like they actually finally have the product out and working. So it'll be interesting to see if they can come through with it. But yeah, for me, these other projects, they need to deliver. If you're gonna compete in this ocean of coins that are out there, you've got to be bringing your A game all the time. And just it's one thing to not deliver, but it's really something else when you say you're going to deliver something and you don't. It's really, really hard on the communities, especially because we're gun shy now, right? We've been through this with other projects. We're starting to become more savvy as a group of investors, and we just don't want to do it. So yeah, we've talked about that. Johnny FOMO, I asked him in the last AMA, once they had all the information, if they would share that with us. So we'll see where it goes from here. So yeah, lots of dust tokens. Yeah, this is something that's very true. I have a whole bunch of them in this wallet that I've been showing you guys right here. There's like 4 of them on the screen right there. There's a key 7. It's just so impossible with the lighting to get this, but key 7 net, this abshiba.com, Antis, Inu. There's just be careful. If something shows up in your wallet and you didn't put it there, be very skeptical about interacting with that, because it's a dust type attack where they'll put something in there. And if you try to transact with it, it'll essentially open up your wallet so that they can sweep things out with that one. So chart looks ugly. They need some success. I'm going to assume you're talking about the terrarium chart, or it could be the Saitama chart. This is the 7-day Saitama chart. See what she looks like. And I'll pull the terrarium chart in the 7-day too. Unless it's just not going to go for me. There we go. There's the 7-day. Yeah, it's just given back pretty much all of the gains that it picked up from that OKX listing that the community went all in on, which was good to see. All right. Terrarium actually showing a little bit of pump in the last 24 hours, up 5%. But let's look at that too on a 7-day. Should go real quick. So there's the 14-day. That definitely includes that little run up from the Binance, which immediately that gave back. And ever since then, it seems like it's kind of been congregating around this 804 level. Let's look at the 7-day. Yeah, I mean, this one almost looks more brutal, but the scale is scaled down quite a bit. So that's from 8045. Never quite made it to 8035. But, that's on the 7-day, you're talking down 11%, down almost 50% on the 14-day, which includes that spike up through 701. So, what I'm kind of looking to see right now is if these guys with Terrarium can get this project going to the point where maybe we can see Saitama and Terrarium on the same page from a market cap standpoint. So Terrarium is currently sitting at a market cap of 189 million and Saitama sitting at 479. So they've got it's quite a ways actually. It's been a lot closer than that in recent past, but I'd like to see Terrarium continuing that climb, which is where these spreadsheets, to me, you guys, the fundamentals tell the tale. Okay. It's not just about where are we today. It's about where were we and what's the potential, what's the speed of different things, what are the speed of the increase in holders, what does the volume look like. So I'll try to keep these updated. And for those of you who like the Saitama one, I'll try to do a short video on that too, a couple times a week. I would really like to see them get this volume going again, but they have to clear out now what is how I've actually called FUD from the beginning, which is, I think that's funny. I keep forgetting to share my screen. I just went through both of those charts and didn't show you guys the screen either way. Here, I'll just put it back up there for you really quick. Doesn't do much good to show you. So here's the terrarium price. This is the 7-day. If you look at that 14-day, you'll see that it captures the spike. So the number on the chart down here is going to start looking a lot better after Friday, because that will fall off the chart. I don't know why it's not there. It is. So that's like right at the point here of just about ready to drop off the chart. But Saitama, I had that up too. Just pop back over real quick. So you can see it's, again, coming down, looking to test that, what's going to be 809 if they're not careful. But this one, it's kind of given back. You can see on the 14-day, it has the pump going into Sida Realty. It might have been a 2 pump because we thought we were going to get it and we didn't. Then they got it. And then from there, it's just kind of running back down a little bit. So we'll see how it plays out. All right, let me look at a couple of your final comments, and then I'm probably going to wrap one up for the night. You guys. Not screen sharing. Yeah, so I got that back on there for you, hopefully. Dennis, great to see you too, sir. It says Luffy has launched their 4-token migration swap feature yesterday. They will officially launch the migration to their V2 token on the 15th of this month. So this seems to be happening quite a bit right now. People launching to V2 token. And, it'll be interesting to see. I guess Mandox was migrating also, which gave a lot of people a concern that maybe they were rugging out, So, yeah, Jackie, I hear you on this one. This is a comment that you've mentioned a few times, that they need to get some marketing going. And your question actually was, what's happening with that marketing wallet now that they've got some money accumulating there? So, I know they're marketing some. I'm watching them quite a bit with in the Twitter space. And I don't know where the most effective marketing is for these new altcoins. I watch a lot of them. They're working with influencers, and then people question the motives, of the influencer or of the crypto project. But there does have to be some money spent in marketing, because you do have to get it out. Why is Paratoken pumping so hard? Yeah, I saw that earlier. The rumor that I heard was that it had something to do with the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, maybe looking at it as an official currency, but that is 100% a rumor that I heard. Let's see if we can pull it up here. And I don't even know which Paratoken it is. We'll try this one. Yeah, this one could very well be it. Up 200%, up 2,000% in the 7-day look. I mean, geez. If somebody was on this one and rode that, man, you're killing it. And this is on like pretty low volume on 7 million. I mean, that's market cap of Saitama is more, or the volume is more than that. You can see though, this is one that doesn't have a bunch of tokens out. So here's your total token supply on this one is like 100 billion. So the price is going to be higher, just based on your market cap. So their market cap is actually showing 200 million fully diluted. I don't know if there's a token burn. It's not a project I'm that familiar with, but I did see that it was pumping. Yeah, so this is Paul saying best way to use marketing wallet is to pay to list on exchanges. And that's something they definitely have shown that they're doing, because last time I made a video, 6 out of the 7 exchanges that they had announced were live. And I think Probit was the one that they were waiting on. And I'll do an update on that one tomorrow when I do my Terrarium Tuesdays video. But yeah, Zin, how would it be to catch that sucker? A 2,000% pump in 14 days would be taking your $1,000 and making you a lot of money. A couple $100,000. Been there, done that, rode it all the way back down. And I'm not bitter, actually. I think it was a good lesson for me. Shinjoro, I don't know anything about Shinjoro. There's a lot of these new tokens that I'm just not really up on, but I need to try to look into them more. But it's hard to keep up, you guys. If you look into this, we get pretty focused in on what our projects are. Let me go back in and turn on my. So let me just show you. Okay, this is CoinGecko, and it's showing 13,544 coins listed. If we were to look at CoinMarketCap, if you look at these guys, they're saying they're listing 18,696 tokens. So, we tend to focus in on a few tokens that we're comfortable with or that are getting a lot of talk right now from influencers, or if they go off on a run. But there's so many of them, it's hard to stay on top of all of them. There's some people who do a lot with that, but I'm not very good at keeping pace with all of those. So, hey, McGuire, thank you for checking in with us. And I'm probably going to wrap it up here too, guys. I just wanted to check in, see how you guys were doing. I haven't felt particularly inspired on content creation. So I'll be doing, Terrarium tomorrow. And I'm still exploring this idea of doing something with the top 20 tokens and trying to put it into some concise format where people can just check in on like a daily or every other day basis and kind of get a feel for what's going on at the top of the leaderboard, where I'm starting to move more and more of my investment because I just can't keep up with watching my phone all day and waiting for the right exact moment to try to hit that buy button or that sell button. So, hey, you guys are awesome. Thanks for checking in with me. I appreciate you spending some time. And it's good to see a lot of you I haven't seen for a while. Dennis, I hope you're doing well, friend. You guys have been around for a while. And Potomotive, thank you. Cycling Expedition, thanks for checking in. You guys, take care. Keep an eye on your money, and at the same time, try to have a little bit of fun somewhere out there in life, because especially the last 3 weeks, man, I just got overly sucked in to the point where I had to just back out and just put it all on the side for a minute. So, Schwambo, I'm with you, man. Let's sell a little bit. Drew, take it easy, buddy. Thanks. You guys have a great night. Check back with me soon. We'll watch our crypto stacks grow together.